So, welcome to Learn Social Media Marketing for Small Businesses. So, if you're starting out in social media, then this is the course for you. My name's Donna Townsend, and I will be your teacher throughout this course. I have about 5 years' experience in marketing, specifically social media. So, hopefully, you'll learn a lot. This course is designed to be very beginner, basic level. So, it's a lot of overviews, but it should be really informative for you as well. So some of the sort of the content we'll be covering is we're going to look at what social media marketing actually is, why you need it for your small business, looking at social media strategies and how to set one up, what platform is for what, so that will help you decide on where to put all your efforts, social media management tools that are affordable to you, the types of content that you could utilize, how to plan and publish content, advertising and promoting your social media, SEO, analytics and reporting, making your content stand out. And the last lesson is all about social media tips for you. Just probably an overview of absolutely everything we've covered and to help you get started. So enjoy the course and let's get started. So in this lesson, we're going to cover what is social media marketing. So it's a really good question. So first of all, you'll probably see social media marketing as the abbreviation of SMM. So that's what you'll see if you go on social or anything else. Most people just shorten it down to SMMM just to make it a little bit easier. So what it is a form of online marketing that uses just social media platforms as a marketing tool. Social media platforms enables brands to build up brand awareness, increase your sales, builds a community, followers, and drives traffic to websites. So that's kind of it all summed up in a nutshell. So the benefits of them, there's endless benefits when it comes to social media. So we're going to cover the benefits first, and then I'm going to show you the downsides to it so you can kind of understand the pros and cons of it, basically. So first of all, it is a direct line to your audience and allows you to interact with them. So you can speak directly to your customers and your audience very easily on social media. Second reason, you don't have to pay to promote services and products. It allows you to build up an organic audience without costing anything but your time. So when I say this, you can spend time engaging, following, gradually building up your audience. And that's known as organic audience building, basically. But you don't need to pay anything. It can actually take as little as 15 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, just engaging with certain clients. So it's a pretty good way of building up your audience. Number 3, it provides various platforms to tell your brand story on and gives you a voice. So you can choose what platforms that work for your business so that you can reach your ideal audience and you can tell them who you are, what do you do, that kind of thing. So there's loads of sort of platforms. There isn't just one per company. You could be on, say, 4 or 5 if you wanted, if they're sort of relevant to your audience, which is pretty good. Number 4, it helps drive traffic to your website, which is really, really important, especially if you sell anything or have a service. It's an important way of driving, people to this website that wouldn't have thought to or very interested in what you do. So, more engaging your posts are, the more likely they're going to want to find out more about you. So they'll go to your website. Number 5, it helps with getting found on Google search engines. So if you were to type in a certain name or anything like that from social media, more than often you'll find in the search bar, like the images, that they'll come up, they'll be shown. And this is a good thing for your what builds up sort of the search engine side of things, where basically if people were typing for a specific type of business, you would be sort of on the first or second page, which is kind of what you want. So the more active you are on social, the better you can get found on search engines like Google. Number 6, it improves your brand as it humanizes your company while building trust. A lot of companies find that they can feel a bit commercial. People are like, oh, it's just another business. Social media adds that human element in, which people love to know. So a lot of posts you'll find for businesses, they will do social teams. They'll do like in the office kind of shots and posts about what's going on day to day, just to give people insight to what kind of company they are, really. So it's a good way of doing that. Number 7, it can help increase your sales, which is always really important. A lot of the time, for example, Instagram, I think, does it. Facebook does it as well, where you can do like a shop, for example, and it helps build up those sales. Other platforms, you can send directly to whatever you're selling on a website. So there are different ways of increasing your sales, which is really, really important. And the final reason, it helps you learn about your audience, which is fantastic. Like if you're just starting out, or you're slowly growing your business, but social media isn't really working for you, then this is the time to kind of look at the audiences of your competitors and figure out, wait, that works for them. This type of post works, or the language is a bit different, or the audience quite likes this or that. It can tell you so much about how to actually do your own social media, basically. So these are all the benefits of social media. So let's go through the downsides of social media. So there are some big issues when it comes to it. So we'll just go through these now. So first of all, security and private settings are a little invasive. So I don't know the amount of times you've done it. You start talking about something, your phone's nearby, and Facebook ads come up with something that you've been talking about. So the privacy settings is a little bit, or anything you sort of Google on your phone, you often find on social media that there's an ad being created or pop up in your feed, and you're like, that's a bit strange. So the privacy element is a bit scary for a lot of people. It's for advertising, you need to get quite a lot of information about yourself for it to work. In terms of advertising as well, you need to know a lot about your audience as well. So if you don't know enough about your audience, you're going to be targeting sort of the wrong people, and it's wasting your money. So basically, for it to work, you need a lot of information. Number 3, every platform is different for marketing on. So great that there's loads of platforms. The downside is you've got a lot of platforms to be working on. So each sort of content idea that you come up with has to be sort of adapted to suit the platform, which can be very time consuming. Number 4, it's difficult to measure leads from social media. You can track sort of social media to your website, so you can see where the platform, what platforms it is. But a lot of the time, you can't actually measure the leads and, the source of it, basically, because, for example, if you do a post on, say, Facebook, and then it's shared by multiple people, you're not really sure where the source came from and things like that. So it is kind of a difficult thing to monitor, basically. The next reason is you need to stay engaged and active at all times. So if you haven't got the time for social media, then you might find that you're very inconsistent, and that can be reflected in sort of your sales and, your level of engagement. So it's important to kind of stay engaged, but it is very time consuming, which is the other reason as well, the next reason. It is very time consuming, building up an audience, engaging with your customers, trying to grow your following. It's just a lot of time taking, which is understandable, especially if you're a small business and you're doing a lot of different roles in your business. This could be one of the most time consuming. So a lot of people kind of outsource this a lot of the time. And the last downside to social media is the negative reviews. So these can be really, really frustrating and a huge impact on your business. So a lot of people use like Facebook reviews or Trustpilot, those types of things. If you get a bad review in them, it can actually impact your business more than you think. It's really sad because sometimes you'll find that you might have people who are spamming, your sites and things, which are often enough you can actually get them removed. Or you've just had a bad client, but it wasn't really your fault, but they feel like they should go on websites and give you a negative review. And then, potential clients will probably, they might not use you for your business. So it can be very disheartening how much of a review can actually impact your business. So hopefully this has given you an oversight of basically what social media marketing is about. The good things and the bad things, they kind of weigh up really well. But there is a lot of things that you need to consider in terms of the time that you're going to be doing, spending on these types of things, and your level of sort of interest and the platforms you're going to be using. So hopefully this has helped you. So, why use social media for your small business? So, that's what we're going to be covering in this lesson. So, first of all, did you know that 71% of small to mid sized businesses use social media to market themselves? That is a significant amount of people using it. So, as a business, you probably know it's really important to get online. So, you might have a website, you might be doing other different types of marketing like email, but another avenue is social media. So, we're just going to cover off some of the main reasons you should be using social media for your business. So, first of all, uh, you will reach more potential customers. So, if you think about how many people are actually on social media, there's millions, billions that are on it that could be potential customers for you. So, it's a different avenue for marketing yourself, because not everyone will go to your website, not everyone will search for you specifically, but this is another way to reach out to them. Number two, it encourages people to purchase from your brand. So people love seeing what your brand's about. So in your posts, you need to be reflecting what you're about. So if you're, say, for example, a very eco-friendly company, then you need to reflect that in what you're kind of putting out there, really, because it will encourage those people that are interested in that type of thing to purchase from you. So the more you can share about what your brand is about, and really be consistent in what you're doing, the more likely people will buy from you. Another reason, it boosts your brand awareness. So, for example, some of the companies will, if you're quite small, you will gradually become bigger and bigger and bigger. That's probably your main goal. And by doing this, you need to have more brand awareness. People need to know who you are. So when they say your name of your company, then people go, yeah, I know who that is. Do you know what I mean? That's what you want to be doing, because you want people to be coming to you as first port of call when it comes to sort of the products that you sell or services you do. You'll be going straight to you. So that's another really, really good reason. So I've got three more. So the next one, it gives you a better understanding of who your audience is. This is a really important one as well, because the more you know about your audience, the better it is for your business, really. So you would need to do some market research on who your audience is, and then that can be a great strategy, which we will cover in another lesson about social media strategy. But this is a very good big point to understand. Number four, your competitors are online, so you can actually learn from them. That's actually a really good idea. So your competitors are online, but if you aren't, then in theory, your competitors are getting your business, if you think about it. And this is not what you want. You want to be kind of in line with them as a competitor to them as well. So it's important to kind of understand what they're doing. If you're just starting out, this is probably a good idea, is to look at all your competitors in the area, sort of in the country, and look at what they're doing. It will help you massively in what you're doing in, creating your plans and anything like that. But you want to become a competitor to them as well. So so that you can take some of the business and, build up that brand awareness so people do come to you. And the last one is you can build long-term relationships with your customers. So if you have really good customer service when it comes to social media, if you offer a service and you're really quick on social, like I've done it before. I've messaged, say, a bank that I'm with, and I message on social media and they respond instantly. You're going to be like, oh, they really care. You'll stay with them a lot longer because of the response to you, and the fact that they seem to care. Do you know what I mean? So it's really, really important to think about your business and how you can get onto social media. and staying consistent and stuff. But we're going to be going through a lot more lessons on basically creating a strategy, getting set up, and understanding your audience a bit more as well. So look forward to you in the next lesson. So in this lesson, we're going to look at social media strategy, which is a really important aspect of managing social media and to help your business. So first of all, what is a social media strategy? Well, basically, it's a document outlining your goals, your tactics, what you want to achieve, how you'll measure this on social media, and it will also include the channels that you'll be using to promote your business on. So, in a nutshell, it's got how you're going to do everything, why you're going to do everything, and what the main goal is. So, that's basically what a strategy is meant to be doing. So, what a strategy will do for your business? Well, it will do 5 key things. First of all, it enhances targeting across your audiences because you'll know who your audience is from creating the strategy. Direct and increase website traffic. So your posts and your content will be pushing that type of aspect. You'll be able to create personalized content, so relevant to your audience, basically trying to push what you do that interests your audience. It's going to generate better quality leads. So you're going to get people that actually are interested in what you do and want to know more and will more than likely purchase something from you or take a service up. And then lastly, it will have a direction for all your social media activities. So it will make it easier for you to create content by understanding what it is you want to be doing, what you want to achieve, and those goals. So that's basically what it's there for. So, how to develop a good strategy? So, to be successful in this aspect, there are certain steps that you need to take. So, number one, you need to set goals. So, you need to clearly define what your goals are for your business, as the activity for each platform will differ. For example, for LinkedIn, you might want to be posting sort of more informative posts. For Instagram, you might want to do more video content, but they might have different sort of messaging and stuff like that. One might be trying to sell a service more than a product, just because the platforms are different. So determining that will make a difference. Then once you have those goals and you've determined what they are, you'll then have to create KPIs, which is key performance indicators, to see if your goal is being met and track success. So what I mean by this is, for example, if you really want to boost traffic to your website, you might say, write it down. I want 20 more people a day going to my website. And that is a KPI. And if your traffic is building to that 20 people and more, then the activities that you're doing are successful because it's doing what you wanted it to do. You wanted 20 people, great. So then when you've hit that, then you'll change the target. You'll change the key performance to something else. So you'll probably increase it. And then what you'll do is you'll increase the activity. So you're trying to build up that success and keep it going. So that's number one. Number two, you'll research your audience. So to create personalized content, you need to know who your audience is and what they want. So a few ideas on how to do this is you need to try doing online surveys, interviews, market research, and social listening to understand who your buyers are. It's really, really important step. I mentioned it in the last lesson. Knowing who your audience is going to impact how successful your social media campaign is, in all honesty. If you don't know who your audience is, you are just basically throwing posts out there with no real direction. So it's important to define that. Number three is research competitors. So this is as simple as putting an Excel sheet together, working out what platforms they're on, understanding how many followers they've got, what kind of content they do, how often they post, what hashtags. So all those little things, you can look, Google this term, research competitors. You will find loads of links with other web pages that basically say what you need to be looking at. But look at the key things, key information that you can learn from each of your competitors. You might even look into kind of the services they offer, that type of thing, what people are drawn to. So it might impact on how you do your business, but it's really, really important step. And then the final step is to define your objectives, identify your target audience, work out a budget. So are you going to be using paid ads, for example? Can you include that? Can you outsource your social media? A lot of people are doing that lately. And it's, to virtual assistants and social media managers, because it's such a big area. If you can afford to do it, great. It can help you focus on your business. But it's worth thinking about if you're putting a budget together and then sticking to a theme for your content. So you need to think about what your content's going to look like in terms of colors. Is it going to have logos, the style, the wording of it? So it's really important to look into that. But then what you do need to understand is when it comes to a strategy, it is just a strategy that works then at the time. But for example, if something isn't working, your objectives aren't working, you're not reaching the targets, then it's important that you can change your strategy. It's just there for like a baseline. It's basically telling you what you can do, but the plan can change. So it's important to adapt it if you need to do it. So that's really important. So establish your social marketing goals. So here's just a few ideas of what your marketing goals could be. So it could be to increase traffic, build relationships, improve processes, improve visibility, increase sales, grow awareness of the brand. So these are just a few sort of goals that you can have for social media. You could probably think of a lot more, but these are sort of the basic ones. A lot of people just want to increase traffic. A lot of people just want to increase their visibility mainly so that people know who they are. So it's important to understand what your business is looking for. So how to define your target market. So how do you define your target market? So first of all, you need to decide who your current customers are and why they buy from you. So this is a part of your research for your audience, basically. This will help understand your audiences a bit better. So look at number one, and then number two is work out the benefits of what you do or sell. You want to be giving a solution to a person's problem. That's basically what you want to be there for. So if someone can't do something, they need to understand that you can help. So understanding what you can offer is really, really important. Number three, who is most likely to buy from you? So look at the factors like age, location, gender, income level, occupations. So like the normal stuff that you'd look for in a buyer persona, basically. So you're looking at who your market is, basically. And the last one is to look at your competition and look at who they are targeting. So I have briefly mentioned this in terms of the strategy side of things. So this is a bit more in depth of what you need to be looking for, basically. And considerations to look at. So this is the final sort of part of this course. So basically, you need to be looking at your voice, your tone, and the way you speak and the way that it comes across in your posts needs to reflect your business. So try and aim not to be very blunt if you can help it. Try and come across as friendly, informative. You want to be very open tone, open voice. That's if it suits your brand. Having a very blunt and very generic kind of voice, very bland, it's not going to pique your interest on social. A lot of people will just ignore the posts. It needs to stand out as much as possible. Determine what platforms to use. So like I've mentioned in the strategy, you need to be looking at certain platforms. Not all of them are going to be right for your business. So for example, some businesses won't use TikTok because it isn't useful to them. So whereas others that are, say, very creative types, like that make cakes and things, they're absolutely huge on TikTok because you can do a lot of video editing and people love that. So you need to pick out which platforms works best for you. But in one of the next lessons, we will look at the platforms, their uses, and it can help you sort of narrow down which ones to use. Then you need to look at your overall goals. So your goals, you don't need to have like a couple of sentences. It could be bullet points of 3 things you want to achieve, basically, and then they can be sort of adapted. But yeah, it's important to understand what your goal is, because then that helps you create the content to reach the goal. The next one is what you want to achieve. So, like I've just mentioned about goals, goal and achieve is kind of the same thing. But achieve is probably more long term. What do you want to achieve in your business? Where do you see your social media in, say, 2 years, a year's time? Do you want to be having a massive following, or you want loads of engagement, or do you want it just to be consistently ticking over and getting those sales in all the time? So, what it is that you want to achieve? Then you need to think of, do you have time to interact with others? This is a very big point for a lot of small businesses that struggle to have the time for social media. A lot of them will outsource. So it might be an aspect that you might have to do if you've got the budget to do it. And if you're struggling with time, it's something you might want to look into. And last of all, do you have a company name and style? So does your business have a very clear name? Very easy, rememberable. If you've got a logo, is it very clean cut? Is it got a nice style? Same as your website. You kind of want a consistency between your website and your social media. You'll find, like, if you go through some people's websites from their social, it'll be very consistent in color and voice and layout and tone. So it's really important to try and keep them very consistent. And hopefully this has given you a really good insight into what a social strategy is. So in this lesson, we're going to cover what platform is for what. So when it comes to promoting a business on social media, it's so important to choose the right platform for what you do, as some platforms don't have your ideal audience on. So before you start setting up accounts on all the platforms, it's good to understand the purpose for each one and whether your audience will use it. So you've probably heard of some of these in this list, but these are the top 9 platforms that people use currently. So Facebook has been around for years. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok has been a new competitor over the last 3 years, 2 years. Snapchat has always been in the background. Pinterest, Reddit, LinkedIn, and Twitter. But we're going to go and focus on the sort of the main ones. So we're going to look at Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Twitter. The reason for this is some of the other ones are more forums, or there's social sort of platforms like search engines. Like Pinterest isn't classed as a social media platform. It's more of a search engine. But we're going to cover the main ones now. So first of all, we're going to look at Twitter. So Twitter is a platform for quick, snappy content that's this is because of the 280 character limit and its short lifespan. So usually when you're on Twitter, they usually say you post 1 to 5 times per day, but it actually used to be about 20 to 30 because content was going on and not many people were seeing it. So it's very, very short lifespan. So you might find that you're going to have to post quite a lot, but the good side is it's very snappy. What this platform is great for, it's good for engaging with customers, finding out the latest news, and hashtags can help you with your search. Hashtags are really good on Twitter. When you're doing a post on Twitter, always include a hashtag. I usually include about 3 to 5, just because it's easier way to get found. So the main tips when it comes to this is it's great for news, updates, and short posts mainly. And you post 1 to 5 times per day. So that's basically the highlights, the overview of Twitter. So if you're thinking about your business, can you get the information about your business into very snappy content, little chunks? It's a good thing to think about. If it does, great. If you're going to have a lot of news updates and lots of informative posts, this could be the right platform for you. So TikTok, you may have heard of this. TikTok isn't right fit for all brands and businesses. It's only recently that businesses are taking to using TikTok because it's so popular. The only thing is the age for them. So a lot of people on this are about 18 to 24. Um, there are more people, say, I think it's 25 to about 39, 40 that are sort of using it a bit more. But not every brand is suited to this. So if you're a very creative business, then you know what, this could actually be really useful for you. So the great thing about this platform, it is great for those creative types. There is opportunity for virality. It has a huge audience, and you don't need a huge budget. But like I've just said, there are things you need to consider. So the time it actually takes to create one. So if TikTok creating videos is, is taking more time than you expect, and you've got other things to do, then you might have to balance out, is it worth it? The age group is another thing. The services you provide, if they are for probably outside this group, then it's probably not the platform for you. And the other thing you need to consider is, do you have time to plan the content? You need a bit of a plan to figure out what you're going to be doing daily. So those are the things you need to think about. So Instagram is a very popular platform. Most businesses you'll find can easily go onto this, but it's entirely up to what you provide and how you can utilize it. So on Instagram, you will find you can get specific with niches, which is fantastic. So when I say niches, it's very sort of specialized businesses. So like you might specialize in a type of jewelry, then you can, be very specific on this platform, which is great. What this platform offers is in-app shopping, which is great for e-commerce businesses. It's a very visual platform. So if you've kind of got a business where you can upload photos quite regularly, this could be very useful for you. And users engage a lot on this platform. I find there's so much engagement and people asking things, and it's a very positive space, I find. Especially when you're messaging like, hey, how are you doing? Or, if people message me, it's never really horrible messages. It's always people finding out what I'm about, what I'm up to, like, thank you for following. It's a very kind of considerate platform to be on, actually. So it's worth thinking about. So there is 3 main considerations you need to think about. So when it comes to Instagram, if you can post between 3 to 7 posts per week, that's brilliant. So for this, if you do stick to 3 posts, that's great. Instagram love consistency. So if you can stick to 3, brilliant. If you can crack it up to 7, that's great. But it's all about what you can manage. Also, depends on the quality of your content. They always look for high quality content. There's nothing worse on Instagram when you come across a photo that's very blurry, or something isn't, it doesn't read right, or you can't read it. It just comes up as low quality, and you won't increase your business's like followers. Also, you need to do a lot of engagement. So think about if you've got the time to do that. The upside to this is, when you think about it, if you can set in your calendar every day, first thing in the morning, 10 minutes per day, that's probably just enough. That's the bare minimum that you can get away with doing, I think, to grow your audience and to grow your brand awareness. So if you can manage that, then great. But if you can increase that throughout the day, you're going on every couple of hours, or, at lunchtime or dedicated time, half an hour or so, whatever kind of works for you, then this could be a really useful platform for you. Facebook is one of the best platforms for everything. It's got a bit of everything on there. So we'll go through them now. But it's a very versatile platform. So you can do different content. You can do videos. You can do, it's just introduced articles. It's got everything. It doesn't have like a limit like Twitter. It doesn't matter if you've got a lot of images. Do you know what I mean? You can use it for anything, really, content-wise. So why is it good for businesses? It's got a few good reasons for this. It's good for sharing resources. So it's got a great easy button to press share at the bottom, which is brilliant. It offers Facebook ads, which is great to get your business in front of your audience. Facebook groups is one of the best things out there. I love signing up to all these groups to do with like learning and stuff. Really insightful. Great to engage with people that's got same interests. You can sign up to as many groups as you want. Your business account can do the same, but you can push your business into those groups, which is fantastic. It helps build brand reputation. So on a Facebook page, business page, you'll find that it's got reviews. Most people, when they're looking at services or products, they will look at your reviews. And if they're positive, that's what kind of encourages them to find out more, go to your website, or buy from you direct. So it's really important to have that. And you can easily promote events as well, which is, it's really useful, especially if you're looking for something local or you're doing like a business event or anything like that. It's a great way to do it because most people will look in the area or it might come up on their own feed. So it's really good. So a few considerations when it comes to Facebook is you need to think about the age group. So 18 to 44 is the age group. So for most businesses, that's quite good. Do you know what I mean? Most businesses look at targeting between 20 to 40s to 50s anyway. So that's quite a big group. With Facebook, you need to be doing it 1 to 2 times per day. But if you could manage, say, once per day during the weekdays, that's enough. It's the same with Instagram. Consistency matters quite well. And Instagram and Facebook are owned by the same people. So they're connected as well, which makes Facebook quite useful, especially including, like scheduling posts and stuff. If you've got Facebook and you connect your Instagram, the two work side by side. So it's worth looking into. And you need to be seen as active. So hence the 1 to 2 times per day. So if you've got a business page, it's important to remain active as possible because sometimes Facebook will close down the pages if they seem dormant or anything like that. So it's important to kind of make sure that you're quite active on social. It's the same with all the platforms. It's about engagement, being seen quite a lot. So it's really, really important. So LinkedIn is another one. This is really important if you're kind of going business to business. It's just a really great platform, I think, especially from a business perspective. You can keep up to date with the latest trends, sharing educational content, work-related content. So the main benefits to this particular platform is you can showcase your work and your business, share information, build up your reputation, share job vacancies. This is quite useful if you're quite an informative business. So if you're like, say, for example, you're a medical practice or something like that, and you've got a lot of informative, interesting posts to share, LinkedIn's a really good resource. You can also create your own LinkedIn page separate from your personal one. And then you can kind of build up the following on that, but you can share between them and things like that. So it's a useful one if you're going to be targeting businesses. And it's very resourceful as well. There's always new stories and things like that on it. So it's even if you're on there just to keep up to date with the latest information, it's worth doing. The main tips with this is you need to publish engaging and valuable content. It's more personalized. It's a bit more informative. You'll find the language is very different from Facebook and Instagram are quite relaxed. TikTok is quite funny and quite creative. LinkedIn is more, there's a bit of a serious tone, but there's a lot more personalization you'll find in this. So you'll come across posts with people, talking about their successes, which is really nice to hear and stuff. But it gets the engagement because you're relatable to what's going on. And then on this particular post, you'll need between 2 to 5 posts per week. Two is not bad, to be honest. If you can manage to do 2 posts per week, like with the other posts, with the sort of the other platforms when we were saying the lower end, if you can manage to do the low end of the posts you need per week, then that's great. Do you know what I mean? It's all about consistency, which matters. So we're going to look at Pinterest in this one. So I mentioned that it's not a social media platform as such. What Pinterest is a search engine. A bit like Google. You'll find like if you search anything in Google and go to images or you scroll down, sometimes after a night, it actually takes you to a Pinterest board because it's relevant content. So the two are quite connected in a way. So the benefits for your businesses, it's a very positive platform. It's the same as Instagram. There's there is some engagement, but not as much as Instagram. You'll find that it's all about being creative, very visual. You can reach a very large audience through Pinterest, and you can sell products and link posts to your website. So you'll find that people search through, add things to their board, or they'll click through to understand something. I find it's quite an informative one. So it's got a mix of Instagram, stroke LinkedIn in it, between the two. But this is more of a search engine. So the considerations for this is, do you have enough visual content? Pinterest is images. That is the whole images and sort of very small videos kind of content. Do you have time? Do you have the visual content to keep producing? I think it's between 1 to 5 posts per day and keep doing them. This is a lot of sort of time to build this up in the beginning with the boards and stuff. But if you can consistently do it, fantastic. In the long term, it will help build brand awareness and boost your SEO. So basically the way you get found long term. So it could be something depending if is it like TikTok and other things. If you're a very creative company, this could be useful for you. If you're a very informative company, sort of quite serious, you wouldn't have many images, it could be quite time consuming for you, then this probably isn't worth your time. And also your audience as well, you've got to take into account, which is 25 to 35 years old. So that's another thing you need to be thinking about. And the last one we're going to look at is YouTube. So YouTube is the most popular video sharing social media network out there with a huge, huge audience. Everybody knows what YouTube is. YouTube is great for music, videos. It's good for information, tutorials. Sometimes you find episodes of stuff. So the benefits to your business for having YouTube is it helps drive traffic to your website. It improves your SEO, which is search engine optimization, which means you get found on Google. And it helps build up brand awareness. But the things you need to consider when using YouTube is, do you have the time and resources to do this? Do you have the equipment to be filming videos? Do you have time to edit? Do you know how to edit? Those are the types of things you need to think about. You also need to think about the type of content you're creating. Is it going to stand out? Are you just creating something that somebody else has done about 1,000 times? You just need to considering what you can offer people. What can you offer your audience? And the last thing you need to do is think about if you can commit to regular uploading. Like every other platform, consistency matters. So do you have the time to always upload? When it comes to YouTube, you can set a limit to yourself. You could think, oh, I'll do 2 videos a week. And if you can stick to that, great. If you can do one, then, as long as you're doing something regularly. So if you say to your subscribers or anything, every Wednesday, I'll have a new episode, and it gets to Wednesday and there isn't one, then, you're kind of giving your false information to your audience. So you need to have that commitment when it comes to uploading videos. So hopefully this has provided insight into the type of platforms, what they can do, whether you should be using them. But at the end of the day, you've got to think about your business. I think if you've done some competitive analysis, it will also help you in determining what platforms. And then once you've determined, get setting them up. In this lesson, we're going to look at social media management tools. So, with a little help from the right social media management tool, it's a bit of a mouthful, it can help you save money and energy. There is nothing worse than having 4 platforms and having to flick between them all to upload or schedule stuff. It's so time consuming and very fiddly. So, that's where these types of tools come in. So, I've spent some time researching the most affordable ones. So you're not going to want a very high-end tool at the minute, just because if you're starting out or very, very small, then you're not going to need one. So to start with, there are 4 that you can look into, which is Social Pilot, Social Bee, Post Planner, and Postly. The bottom 2 I've personally used. I'm going to recommend them. They're really good price, good value, easy to use, and worth giving a go. So I'm just going to go do an overview of each one, features and pricing, and then I'll leave it up to you to kind of look into which one you could use. So first of all, we're going to look at Social Pilot. So the features it has is publishing and scheduling, analytics and reports, great to see how things are doing, engagement, collaboration, and a content library, which is really useful if you're putting like loads of posts or anything like that. You can just pop them in there and then use them at a later date. What this offers is a 14-day trial, which I recommend trying if you want to have a look into this one. I do trials for a lot of them just to see how they work, how they function, if they suit me. I've recommended 2, but they might not suit you. You might be looking for something specific, or you might find it a bit fiddly, but it's worth trying out the trial. And then after that, it starts at £21 for 6 accounts, which is pretty reasonable, to be honest. But if you keep looking, if you want a bigger team, then the pricing will go up and you'll have more users and probably more accounts. So it's worth looking into that one. Social Bee, nice and colourful, offers publishing and scheduling, analytics and reports, engagement, content approval, which is great if you have clients or you work alongside somebody and you want their feedback. I've used it in certain other platforms and it's a great thing to use. And the last feature is an AI post generator, which is becoming a really big thing in social media, especially for those people that don't have the time, or you're struggling to say the right thing, but you know what you want to write about. Do you know what I mean? So it's useful, kind of very useful feature to try. And yet again, 14-day trial. So you can always give it a go for 14 days, see what you think. If it works for you, great, then you can continue. Starting price is about £16 for 5 accounts and 1 workspace. So it's pretty reasonable, to be honest, pricing. Next one is Post Planner. So it offers publishing and scheduling, analytics and reports, engagement, content approval, always a big plus, design posts, and discover viral content. So it's probably more aimed at once you're kind of established kind of scheduling tool, especially the viral side of things. Yet this one offers a 7-day trial. Worth doing. I did the same. It was worth doing so I could get a feel for it. You never know which ones are going to work. Is a little bit pricier than the other ones. It starts at 32 for 10 profiles. So it depends on how many sort of profiles you'll be working with. Depends which platform you're probably going to choose. This one is Postly. This is one that I currently use at the minute. It's publishing and scheduling feature, analytics and reports, engagement, content approval, AA writer, brilliant feature, and recurring posts. So that's kind of a useful tool, especially for sort of Twitter. Instagram, you will find that sometimes your content for 4 months ago could be used now, just rewritten. So it's worth seeing what that's about. So this one also does 7-day trial and starts at $7.50 for 4 profiles. So it all kind of depends on how many profiles you have, what you're looking for. If you're looking for very bog standard, or you're not really fussed about certain things, the AI feature might be useful. You might like the content approval feature too. Have a research of your own. Here's 4 that you could actually do trials on. I'd recommend doing the trials before you jump into anything. there is a lot of testing and stuff to see what tools you're actually going to use. You might think, all the features are amazing, but if you don't use them all, there's not really much point in having the platform or paying that extra for it. So it's worth doing your own research to see what works for you. In this lesson, we're going to look at the types of content there are. So there are many forms of content, all with different purposes and value. Here are just a few examples. So you've got articles, blogs, and guides, ebooks, infographics, photos, videos, and video stories, contests, and testimonials. So all of these can be used to benefit your business. So we're going to look at the benefits for each one. So for articles, blogs, and guides, you can, show your knowledge and your expertise. So on LinkedIn platform, you'll find that you can add articles, same as Facebook. You can link posts to blogs and guides. People love that type of content, something that helps them understand a problem. Ebooks establishes authority and helps you build up trust. So you could write an ebook on a specific topic, then you can share it on different social media platforms. You could do little video clips into it. So the content side of, the post side of things, you can do any sort of type that can link to an ebook. Infographics is a really good one as well. It helps people to understand complex information in a visual way. So, for example, if you're a very sort of informative company, very complex stuff that you do, then you can use infographics to explain. And it's great because you can use infographics on pretty much any channel to show what it is you do. So infographics is really useful. Videos and video stories are absolutely huge now. They never used to be, but they are now. Everyone uses them. Instagram is really big on them. You can do Instagram stories. TikTok is massive. Facebook, you can do stories on. It's just massive. They're a great way to captivate and engage your audience. So they're worth looking into doing. Contest is another way to boost up your fan base and boost your reach. So like if you're a company that sells a specific product, you could do a contest on it. The more followers, that type of thing. And this will help build up your following, especially on Instagram. People love competitions on there for some reason, but it works. Same as Facebook, actually. LinkedIn and the other platforms, not as much. You might find that TikTok might work as well. So you've got to be really selective on what channels to use it on as well, and the rules of contests as well. And finally, the last type of content you could use is testimonials. This is a great way to, show your reputation, your credibility, showcase who you are, show off that you're really proud, especially on LinkedIn. People show off the reviews from some of the clients they've had. Facebook, you can do the same. You can add the actual review to it. Instagram, they're all the sites will have the same, it has the same purpose across all of them, but it's a useful type of content. So hopefully this is kind of giving you some little ideas on the type of content you can do. So you can do like normal, obviously, photos and stuff, but these are more with a specific purpose kind of content. So hopefully you can add this into your strategy and have, start thinking about what you can be doing. So in this lesson, we're going to look at planning and publishing social media posts. We're going to look at how to plan ahead first. So social media can be such a time-consuming task to do without a plan. So learning to plan ahead is important. So the key things to do are allocate time each week to plan for the week. Or if you work better, you might do it, say, once a month, all day you work on it for the following month. It's entirely up to you what works for you. You also do need to look into the trends and hashtags that are popular at the time and think about creating the content for the week. So designing it through Canva, you also need to think about the caption. So when you're allocating the time to do this, planning ahead, you need to be thinking about all the other steps. that you need to do isn't just creating something and then scheduling it. There are other parts to it as well. And then finally, you need to schedule posts. So you might have to look into the right time to post for each of the platforms, but we will be covering this in a few minutes' time. So planning ahead is so, so important. I would highly recommend it. It just gives you peace of mind, and it makes you stay on top of everything when it comes to social media and remain consistent. So the right frequency is also really important when it comes to publishing, content. There are many different articles out there. They'll give you different answers. So as a general sort of rough guide, this is how many times per day you would need to be posting. So Facebook is 1 to 2 per day. Instagram is 1 to 2 per day. LinkedIn is weekdays only because it's very business to business. Twitter is 3 to 30 tweets per day. We have covered that it can be between 1 and 5. General rule is it's up to 30, but generally most people do 1 to 5 at the minute. But if you could do more, fantastic. TikTok is 1 to 4 times a day, but it all depends on content that you've got available, what you've got planned, and have you got the resources to do it. So the last thing you need to think about when it comes to publishing everything is publishing it at the right time, the optimal time of the day. Every platform has an optimal time. There are tons and tons of guides. You can look at the various ones, but you will find that you'll have to play around with this. So these are a general idea of the most popular times. You can look into sort of other guides and things and see what they do, but you'll find if you post generally around these times, it will work. Or you might find you might have to adapt the times or do a bit of testing. But this is what I've uncovered from looking at multiple sort of sites. So Facebook is 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Most people look at it before they go work. Instagram is 6 a.m., 12 p.m. and 10 p.m. Most people, 12 p.m. is sort of lunchtime, 10 p.m. people just chill on the phones before they go to sleep. So I think that's why there are optimal times. LinkedIn, 7:30 to 8:30 before work. 12 p.m. lunch, and 5 to 6 is usually when people are doing it on the way home. Twitter is 12 to 1 and 4 to 6 p.m. Sort of working around the working day, lunchtime and after work. People tend to use their phones a lot more. TikTok is 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. So, like again, it's just working around people's work days. You'll find that between sort of 9 to 5 with the break in the middle, people, sort of look at social at the beginning or at the end of the day. So that's why these are the right times. So when you're planning out and scheduling everything, try to stick to these sort of times. You'll find that you'll probably hit more of a larger audience at these times, and the more people will be online to see your content. So hopefully this will help you in planning out your social media. So welcome to advertising and promoting. So we're going to look at an overview of social media advertising. It's something you might consider later on in your life, like down the line with your business. And it is useful. So I'm just going to go through each of the sort of advertising platforms. So all social media channels actually have incorporated advertising into their own platforms, which you'll find is one of the best ways to attract new customers. It's really useful. So what you probably don't know is social media advertising can actually cost less than a typical pay-per-click PPC and banners. So you'll see them on sides of websites, on Google search and things like that. You'll see them like everywhere. So social media can actually cost less than that because they can actually be quite pricey. So what advertising can do, it can target geography, demographics, education, interest, age, and sex. So it narrows down all of those aspects so that you can target your audience, your ideal audience, a lot better. So I'm just going to briefly go through each of them, each of the platforms and their advertising. So first of all is Facebook. So when it comes to Facebook, it's a really easy platform to use for advertising. I've used it personally. It's pretty straightforward, but there are things you need to consider, which I'm just about to go through. These are sort of the key elements that you can alter and change and things. So we'll just quickly go through them. So when it comes to creating an ad, you need to think about what content you want to promote. Is it going to be a video, a carousel, or just a single image? So if you're going to do an ad, I would recommend probably doing a video or carousel because you will get a lot more engagement out of it. There's a lot of more information you can put on it. It's a bit more eye-catching. A single image, you might not just get the response you want. And it's hard to put a lot of information into just a single image. So you need to think about that. Next, you're going to think about, do you want people to go to your website or your profile? So which one do you want them to go to? It will give you the option to do this. The budget side of things is brilliant on this. You can do it per day or an overview. So you can be like, I want £20 over 7 days, and it will set an amount each per day, and it will work it all out. As soon as it hits £20, it stops. So it's really useful, especially if you have a strict budget. Location will be another thing that it will ask you about. So you'll have to type in locations. This is really useful if you're trying to target big cities, for example, because you can type in the city name and then you can do the distance from it. So say 20 miles from the center, and it will do like a massive circle with, the city in the middle, which is really useful if you want to do like a large audience. Or you can narrow it down. On there, it also tells you basically how many people it will target. So when you put in the location, the age, and you fill out all the information it asks for, it will tell you approximately how many people that particular ad will reach, which is, it's really useful to play around, because some ads might not be useful in certain areas. The age groups might not be in there. So London might have a specific age group, but if you went to, say, Devon or something, the age group might be higher, so less targeted audience. So you need to think about that. But Facebook ads, it kind of helps you in a way. And then the last thing you need to consider is, do you want the image or video or carousel on the feed or on a sidebar advertisement space? So you need to kind of think where you want to actually going. Twitter is really good. It's been around for years and years and years, exploded on the scene, and offers paid advertising as well. There are different types of Twitter content to promote. You can promote a tweet, an account, a trend, or a Twitter card. So you kind of got to think about what it is you want to be pushing, basically. Less targeted than Facebook, but it's still useful to use. LinkedIn also advertise in different ways, so you can reach a more professional audience, but they have different formats to advertise. So just a quick overview in these, you'd have sponsored content, direct sponsored content, which is directly to specific people, sponsored in-mail. So on LinkedIn, you'll get a message pop up, text ads, dynamic ads, lead generations forms. So you've got a few options there. I won't go into depth of them. You'll have to, if you're interested in LinkedIn advertising, it is worth going onto the website and finding out more about the various types, because they all have different sorts of ways of setting up and targeting. So it's worth doing. Instagram advertising. If you have a budget for paid social, you should I strongly recommend using Instagram ads. It's a bit like Facebook. It's really good value for money. But they also have loads of different types and formats. So you've got image ads, story ads, video ads, carousel ads, collection ads, explore ads, shopping ads, and reel ads. Yeah, so that's a lot of ads. So you need to kind of think about what kind of ad you want to be doing. But it's great because you can choose from different types, basically, to suit who does, for the user that uses Instagram. Some people tend to look at stories quite a lot. Some people look at reels. Some people love images. So it's really useful just to see what's going to work. But this might be a little bit of trial and error. And finally, TikTok. TikTok campaigns are very targeted, which makes it really effective in driving traffic, making sales, launching a new product. But they also have different types of ads you can do as well. So you can do in-feed ads, brand takeover, top view, branded hashtag challenge, or branded effects. So as you can see, I've just done an overview and all. There's a lot of information there. I completely understand. When it comes to it, you just need to kind of think, well, first of all, what platform am I on? Need to think about what audience, where is your audience, what they like, and then you kind of look at your budget as well. So there are some considerations. This is one of the best ways to advertise. You don't need a huge amount of money to do this at all. If you've got £20 a month, that type of thing, that's more than enough to get a few more people noticing your business. And, if you consistently do each month, if that's a few more people, and it adds up. But at the end of the day, this is just an avenue to kind of explore when you've kind of established yourself on social media. Probably not like at the very beginning of your steps, of setting up your accounts. You need to have some content on your website, on your social media platforms for people to kind of find out more about you. So it's worth looking into. I would add this into your strategy as a next step, or note it down as a long-term goal to do this eventually. But it's also really good if your organic social media is not progressing as well as you expected. So if you're not reaching certain goals, you might turn to using this as well. So it's worth thinking about. In this lesson, we're going to cover SEO. So what is SEO? Well, it stands for Search Engine Optimization. It is a way to use search terms or keywords in online content so that it can be more searchable. So the keywords that you use in your social media posts, if they're relevant to your brand, will help you get noticed, will help you when you're, somebody's typing something on Google, will help you get found. So that's what SEO's main goal is. SEO, however, is very complex skill that all marketers need to master before decent results can be seen, however. But I don't expect that from you. No one really, as a small business owner, SEO isn't an aspect even I cover. But I do understand why it matters and, how to integrate it into a social media plan, which we're going to cover in a few minutes' time. So why does SEO matter? SEO matters as its goal is to get your web presence to the top of the search results, therefore pushing traffic to your website or your social media accounts. It is used to pull in a lot of customers to your site, get as many links to your site as possible, and gives you a good search engine ranking, meaning you can be found easier. So basically, it's getting you found online. In a nutshell, that's what it's doing. So SEO strategy within social media. So I've got a few tips here we'll cover off in a second. So by having both an understanding of SEO and introducing it into your social strategy, it will help you in your ranking to be, in search engine results, like your Google page. It will help. And to do this, there are certain things you need to do. Well, 5 things. First of all, you need to make sure your profile is fully optimized. So when I say this, I mean you've got the correct web address on the links. So for example, Facebook, you can put a link in. Instagram's the same. You've kind of filled out all the information about who you are, what type of business you are, those types of things. So you've filled out every single thing that you can fill out on a profile, so that the more information on there, the more that you're going to get found from Google. Then you're going to backlink your profile. So when I say this, on your website at the very bottom or top corner, you will have the symbols for your social media accounts. What backlinking means is that you'll be connecting the links on your website to your profiles. You will also, be pushing posts to your website. So basically, you're creating a link between the two to show people that the two are linked in some shape or form. So that's really, really important anyway. 3, having eye-catching images. There is nothing worse than scrolling through Instagram and coming across an image, can't read it, not great quality photo, you just ignore it. You wouldn't engage in it. You want to be able to create consistent branding that reflects who you are, what your company's about, and when you go from different profiles, it's consistent across all of them and on your website. Because when search engines kind of look into it, they'll connect the fact that the artwork, the design is very similar. So understand it. Number 4, always try to improve and analyze your own social media content. So we are going to go through a lesson on analyzing data. So we'll cover that. But what this means is you need to be looking at those posts that do, really, really well and going, wow, okay, I'm going to do that again and see what happens. And if that's working consistently, then you found what works for your audience and what works for your channel, and just keep doing it. And, keep improving things. If somebody, suggests something, then improve on it. Or if you're finding the writing's too small, improve it, change it, see what works. At the end of the day, social media, you're never going to get right from day one. So don't expect, your post to be amazing straight away. It will grow with time. So don't worry too much. Number 5, do social listening to discover new keywords to use. So when I say this, that means just going online, typing in social listening and looking for online tools, and then looking for those keywords, those important keywords that will help you stand out. So the ones that are trending, I would just go on Google, type in social listening, and I would actually look for them. It might take you a little time, but there are plenty of tools that you can find that are free to use, and they might send you emails, that type of thing, to keep you on top of those new keywords to use, all those trending keywords. So it's important to try and stay on top of it, because those keywords are more popular, that all impacts SEO. If you jump on them, create content, that gets boosted on this, SEO, and then you get boosted on search engines. So everything has a knock-on effect. So it's worth doing. So hopefully this has given you an insight into SEO. If you want to learn more, there are plenty of YouTube videos out there to kind of look into this. I would definitely do, searches for keywords to make sure that your keywords are relevant and very popular. It will help you massively. In this lesson, we're going to cover analytics and reporting. So this is a really important aspect that you need to be looking into. It will absolutely help you long-term in creating your audience, creating the right content for them, and growing your brand. So we're going to cover a few things that will help you. So first of all, you need to decide what to measure when it comes to reporting. It doesn't need to be in depth when it comes to analytics at all. And I'll show you a few reasons why, because some of the social media platforms have their own tools, but they're so easy to use. They're not complex in any way. But it's important to kind of look at what you want to look at, like what you want to focus on. So you could focus on the level of engagement, which is the clicks, the likes, the shares, the comments, and the mentions. You could look at the reach, the followers, the impressions, the web traffic, and the share voice. Or you can look at the conversion, which is the sales revenue, the lead conversation rate, and the non-revenue conversions. So there are 3 kind of ways you can measure it, and then you can break them down. But it's really up to you what you want to be measuring. Are you more interested in the web traffic, or are you more interested in the followers? You can separate these out for each of them. But there's a few sort of tools that you can use that can help you monitor this as well. So we're just about to cover that now. So here are 5 of the top tools. There are quite a few tools out there that you can use to monitor your traffic to your website, what platforms are sending it through, that type of thing. But here are the top 5. So Sprout Social is really good, BuzzSumo, Soho Social, Google Analytics, and each of the platforms themselves. They're all really useful to use. Google Analytics, you do need to set it up on your website. So it's really important to set that up before you kind of sort of build up your social. It can be a bit tricky, but there's guides and things to help you set that up. And each platform we're actually going to cover right now, because I think they're really good platforms for analytics type of things, because you don't need too much information. But if you're looking for more, then I'd say try one of the other 4. So first of all, we're going to look at Twitter. So Twitter Analytics tool is so easy to use, very easy to understand, and very informative. So what it'll show you is the number of tweets, impressions, profile visits, and new followers. But it'll do month by month. So you can see what the previous month was doing. It will obviously, at the top of the sort of analytic page, it will tell you if you're up or down from the previous month, which is pretty good, especially if you're trying to grow your followers and it's going down, then you need to do some more engaging. Facebook Analytics Insights, very informative on this actually. It does a bit more information. Twitter, it looks at reach, page visits, page new likes, age and gender, top towns and cities. So it's looking at demographic, your audience itself as well. So that's quite insightful as well. Instagram, very similar to Facebook because the two are connected. So it looks at reach, profile visits, new followers, age and gender, top towns and cities, which, like I said, the information is so useful, especially if you're doing targeted ads. This is a really good place to look. LinkedIn Analytics helps you evaluate metrics on visitors, the followers, leads, content, and your competitors. So you can add competitors, like a list of them, and see how you're doing compared to them, which is pretty good actually. If you're, got quite a few businesses on LinkedIn that are very similar to you, you can see what they're doing and how they're doing. But for the analytics on them, you can look at page views, unique visitors, total followers, new followers, reactions, comments, and reposts. All very useful information like the rest. I'm not sure what else you'd kind of need to know. But like I said, each of the platforms has its own tool that you can easily access in the background. I tend to use it for my desktop just because it's easier. But, it kind of gives you enough information. If you wanted to try the other tools, then it's worth doing. And finally, TikTok Analytics. So they are very similar to Instagram. So it will show you top post, follower count, reach, views, comments, likes, shares, and engagement rates. So they're quite focused on sort of the engagement and how the content's doing, whereas Facebook and Instagram are probably more focused on the audience themselves and who they are and that type of thing. So each of these platforms kind of tells you a little bit about what it is and how posts are kind of performing, which will help you in growing your account. So it is really worthwhile at the end of each month, end of each week, having a look and maybe creating your own report, maybe writing down some suggestions for next week's posts from what you've learned. So this is a really good learning tool for you. So in this lesson, we're going to look at making content stand out. So the first thing you need to think about is content should ideally provide value. So they could be very informative. You could be talking about something that people didn't know. It needs to have a purpose. So when you create posts, you want it to be, it must be doing something. The purpose of the post could be to get someone to go to a blog or go to your website. So it's that type of thing that you need to think about. Your content could answer a question as well. most of your posts should be kind of answering a question, or, being really informative, or helping, your audience understand something. If that's your type of business. Asking a question isn't for every business. E-commerce, not so much. More businesses, other small businesses, this could be more relevant to you, because your services can be linked into answering that question that it needs to you. Your posts ideally want to be relatable to people. You want to make your sort of language easy flowing, understandable, very clear on what it is you're talking about. Otherwise, people just won't be able to follow. You could use a lot of personal language into it as well, so you can reach, a more personal level with people. So you could be talking about a problem you had personally. LinkedIn is a very good platform for that. So is Instagram, I'd say, for talking about sort of things that actually happen to you in your business and things like that. So it's worth kind of adding in that relatable element into your sort of content. And the final one, this should be for every single post that you do. It should stand out by being unique. So you want your post to stand out amongst millions and millions and millions of posts that go out every day across all the various platforms. So you need to make sure that your content is unique. It isn't like every other person's posts that go out. So if you're a coach, you might have, every coach is doing this color, they're doing this type of style. You want to come away from that. You want to be like, I'm going to try this and, see if that works better. But it will make you stand out compared to them. So the next thing we're going to cover is the ways to sell through content, basically. So these sort of 8 aspects are things to think about when it comes to creating your content. So first of all, be as visual as possible. So when I talked about standing out, being unique, this is how you do it. Be visual as possible. Make your posts stand out. Make them look different if you want to, well, if you can. And then number 2 is using a mix of different content. So this, yet again, links into being visual and unique. You want your post to stand out. So try different things. See if a little bit of animation works, short videos, carousel of images, that type of thing. Play around. You'll be so surprised at what works, what doesn't, and it saves you a lot of energy at the end of the day. So try around, try different what types, and then what I would do is look at your analytics at the end of the month. So try it out for a month, see what works. Your analytics will tell you what worked, what didn't. So it will give you such a good indicator for the following, for the next few months, what type of content your audience love, and then that saves you long term in creating posts, not really getting anywhere, and your following doesn't increase. So it's worth doing this. Number 3, have calls to actions. So always have like a buy now, shop now, find out more now, download now, those types of, do this now, or, an action so somebody understands what they need to be doing. Number 4, be entertaining. This works for some businesses, not for every. But when I say entertaining, add a bit of humor into some of your posts. But that depends on sort of the platforms you're going to be using. But you can you can sort of tweak some of the stuff that you're doing to be stand out and be quite funny if you want. But it all depends on your business. So you don't need to necessarily do this as long as your posts are very engaging. Number 5, use intriguing titles. This is really good, especially on Instagram and things. You'll draw people in more by having a very, interesting title. So if something's like the 5 top ways to such and such, you're going to be like, oh, what's that? But if you start rattling off like a really dull title, you're just going to be bored. You're not going to want to know more. So make it stand out, make it short, make it snappy, make it you could even look at your competitors and see if they can't, the wording that they use, titles to, inspire you a bit more. But play around, same as different content. Just play around, see what works, titles wise, what draws people in. It's really important just to experiment quite a lot in your early sort of stages of social media. Number 6 is always add links to everything, whether it's to your website. I would ensure that you've always got a link at the bottom of every post. Make sure on all your platforms you've connected. So, for example, on Instagram, you can put in a link to your website in the profile. Make sure there is a link there. Make sure you've always got links to your website from different platforms. It's so important. You need people to find you and be able to go straight to your content easily. So really important. Number 7 is regular posts. This is one of the biggest ones, I'd say. We've mentioned it loads throughout this course about regular posting. So if you're a small business owner and you're really struggling to find the time to do, regular posting, try and just aim just to do 1 post, 2 posts a week if you can do it. Having that consistency, you'll be surprised, does really help when it comes to growing your audience. Because when an audience does come onto your platform and your profile, they're having a nosy and they go, oh, they post all the time. They're a very active company. It just reflects really well on you. So it does help until that time when you do have that time to post a bit more, then it just helps kind of create that foundation. And number 8, have small and digestible information. So Twitter, you tend to do this quite a lot. You'll be short and snappy. With your other platforms, kind of do the same. You can do like long form, captions and things. But if you are starting out, try and aim to do like a few sentences, to understand what it is that you're trying to push, what your service is, or a bit more information about who you are. Try and stick to kind of small sentences, paragraphs, that type of thing. Easy to read. I use bullet points a lot in my posts. I think it's one of the best ways to kind of digest information because a lot of people are skim readers. If you're starting out, kind of stick to this kind of rule. When you become, a bit bigger, you might find that your posts will have more substance, a bit more to them. But for now, just stick to small. And finally, think about your content goals. So when you're creating your content, it's good to have some goals in mind. So you're going to look at showcasing your brands, building relationships, showing off products and services, attracting new customers, driving sales, illustrate benefits, and build up your reputation. So these are all types of goals that you can look into. So you need to be thinking, what are my goals? What do I want to do? Do I want to drive sales? Do I want to attract new customers? What is your sort of key goals that you want to accomplish from social media? If you're looking to attract new customers, then your posts are going to be very focused on new customers. It's going to be very the type of wording you'll use, the type of content you'll use. You might do benefits to what you do. You might do offers, that type of thing. 15% off if you do this, such and such. The language is going to be very different depending on your goals. So you need to have a think about what it is you want to do. You can have multiple goals, by the way. You could have all 7 of these goals if you wanted. But the content for each sort of goal is going to be slightly different, if you know what I mean. So hopefully this has given you some insight into how to make your content stand out, and good luck with it. Welcome to your last lesson. So I've just done a bit of an overview of everything you've learned in this course. So hopefully these last social media tips will help you kind of get started in your journey. So once you've worked out the right platforms for your business, so hopefully you're at that point now, you've figured out which ones are going to be beneficial to you. Here are a few tips to get you started. So first of all, you need to think about planning in advance. We've covered this previously, but I can't stress it enough. It will make your life so much easier. So don't create content on the fly if you can help it. It's one of the most common mistakes made and causes a lot of stress. So make sure you set some time each month or week to plan out all of your posts. It will save you time and keep you organized. So in your diary, I would say allocate some specific time, say whether it's you're quiet on a Friday afternoon, making sure that afternoon is used for social media for the following week. All what you could do is do a dedicated day once a month and be like, that's my day to create absolutely everything for the following month. Whatever way works for you, I definitely do it. Pop it on your calendar, put it in your planner, however way you work. try and do this as well. So Git scheduling, we've covered in the previous lessons about scheduling tools. So depending on your number of platforms you use, you could be better off using a scheduling tool like Postally or Hootsuite, as they do save you a lot of time. We have gone through, I think, four platforms to choose from. You will find, say, for example, if you are going to use 4 platforms or something, scheduling tools will be so easy for you. They help you in putting all your posts together. You can manage it a lot easier. You don't need to flick between accounts. Honestly, it is such a time saver, honestly. The next thing you need to think about is committing to interacting. So as much as it's great, you've got your posts, your schedules, you've planned everything, you do need to still engage daily. So you need to be making time daily to, engage on social media platforms to see the results. So this includes commenting, answering questions, and interacting with your customers. This is the only way that your following is going to grow. The more you talk to people, the more you're out there, you're engaging, and you're seen as being very active, the more your following is going to grow, the more sales and leads and everything will be driven. So it's so important to make time for that. So for this type of thing, I would say 5-10 minutes per platform per day. You could do it first thing in the morning, you could do it just before you go on lunch, or just before the end of the day. It's entirely up to you. But I would allocate this the same as planning your content. Pop it in your diary. It is the best way to keep you on track with this type of thing. But 5 minutes minimum per day is all you sort of need, but it can make a huge impact. So the next thing you need to do is keep an eye on trends. You don't need to jump on every meme, but by paying attention to certain up and coming popular content, it helps you to create your own. So for example, if there is a National Women's Day coming up, if that's going to be a very popular day, you can think, right, I can jump on that. I'm going to create a post, dedicated to the women in the business, people who've inspired me, helped me, that type of thing. You can jump on that sort of trend because it's coming. But have a look on online tools, Google, trends and things like that can help, manage up and coming trends. You can get email notifications. You can set Google alerts, that type of thing up, so that you can stay on top of them. If you've got a lot going on, then it's understandable you can't jump on every trend, but a few here and there, it can help boost your engagement. So it's worth doing. And finally, use analytics as much as possible. Use analytics. So in previous lessons, we talked about trialing and error social media posts, the types, the timings, that the consistency of how many posts. There's a lot of things going on at the same time, so it's really important to understand, is your efforts doing what it's supposed to be doing? Analytics basically works out if your posts are reaching the right audiences, and everything that you learn from analytics will help you in creating future posts and working out what worked, what content didn't. So it's so important. It's just one of the best ways to do it. You can either do it through the tools that we've discussed in some of the other lessons, or you could just go through platform to platform. They all have analytics of their own. I personally use each of the platforms' analytics. It's easy to use. Twitter's is really good. I can see how many followers I got from last month compared to this month. Facebook's the same. Facebook and Instagram are on the same page. And a lot of the other ones, you can just go into the back end on your phone or on the desktop, and it won't take you long to look at. But every month, just have a look, see what worked. It will really impact what you'll be doing for the future. So hopefully you've enjoyed this course. There is a project to do, which is a lovely worksheet that you will be completing. It's got a lot of aspects to it. If you pop into the projects, download the PDF, the docs even, and you can go through it. You can add details to it. It's going to look at competitive analysis. It's going to help you figure out the different aspects of social media marketing. So everything we've covered throughout this entire course is in that project. So Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Hopefully it will give you a lot better understanding and it'll help you, get started in your journey with social media marketing.